It was an early noon in the village. Double Diamond was getting ready to help his friend Part of Favor, who had asked him if he could help them prepare for a birthday party for their friends. And since the Double Diamond didn't have other plans to do, and he said yes. Part of Favor had already put up some of the decorations like balloons and other things. And Part of Favor asked Double Diamond if he could go to the bakery and pick up the cake and other sweets that he had ordered. And he also mentioned to Double Diamond that all the things had already been paid. All that he had to do is just go there, pick them up, and take them for the party. And Double Diamond took a small wagon and went to this location, and when he walked in, he saw his friend Nightladder. Nightladder was working at this bakery as a part-time job. Oh, hey, Double Diamond. I'm sure you have heard the goods that Part of Favor ordered. Yep, I am. Great. I will help you unload it on the wagon, so don't worry. And he thanked her friend, and he later took all the things to the party. Part of Favor, where are you? Over here. Did you get the things? Yep. Just help me unload the things. Sure. Double Diamond? Yeah. What's this? What do you mean? This is not one of the things I ordered. And Part of Favor pouring out the small box that contained cupcakes with apple flavor. Maybe Nightladder put them there as an extra? I mean, you know how she can be like. Yeah, that's true. And hey, if the customers or the guests want to have something else to do to eat, and why not to have this as an extra? Yeah, I mean, not a bad idea. So they unloaded all the things and prepared for the party. About around 1 p.m., the party was on. All the guests was having a great time, including the pony that it was his birthday. During the party, Double Diamond and Part of Favor just having a conversation between each other. I mean, this is a great party, it's a success, said Double Diamond with a smile. It sure is, said Part of Favor. You know, I'm actually glad that you helped me with this. Well, what do you have friends for? This is what friends are for, said Double Diamond. So, Part of Favor, yeah? How is it between you and Nightladder? Oh, it's, going well? You've been together like what, 2 years? Yeah, that sounds about like that. Part of Favor and Nightladder had been dating for about 2 years. So, any plans for a proposal for her? Hey, keep it quiet, said Part of Favor almost like in a whisper. Well, to be honest, I thought about it, but I haven't really decided when to do it though. You get the time. So, speaking of relationships, what about you, Double Diamond? Have you found any pony to be with? Double Diamond was the only other of their friends in the village who was not dating. He wasn't been dating any pony ever since he moved there, even when Starlight was the leader of the village. Not really. I mean, I haven't really found any pony to be with yet. I mean, but this village is how many pony lives here, and most already had some pony already. Well, I mean, what about if you do try to find a mare, other places? Other places? Yeah, like, Gantelot, Trondheim, Baltimore, Ponyville. Well, I mean, it's possible I could, but I'm just not sure yet. Don't worry, you will find your true love when you meet at least expect it, said Part of Favor with a smile. I hope so. Double Diamond was actually feeling a bit lonely since ever. He was actually a little bit jealous that his friends, especially Part of Favor, was dating Nightladder. And one of his other friends, Sugar Bell, who had left the village already and was married to Big Macintosh. he used to have a crush on Sugar Belle, but after realized she was already in love with someone else, so there was no way for them to be together. So he had moved on. But the next day, when he got his mail, he actually had received a letter. But he wasn't expecting any letter for any pony. But when he opened it, it was actually from Starlight Glimmer. Starlight had asked how he had been doing since he and Starlight actually have been pen pals for a while now. They have maintained their contact throughout by letters, but it happened that she do in fact return to see her friends been doing in the village directly. But since she had been working at the School of Friendship in Ponyville, it makes a lot of things that takes a lot of time. But this time she wrote and telling him that she is inviting him to Ponyville for a few days or maybe a week to spend some time. He decided why not. He wrote back to her and saying that he will be there in a few days and spend a week. He did mention this to his friends Nightglider and Potterfavor, and both actually encourage him to go. Well, I don't have any other things to do back here, so I will just be gone for a week. Maybe longer. Longer? How long then? 100 years? Said Double Diamond as this big joke. Nah, not 100 years. But maybe, I don't know, a year? Oh yeah, right. But a few days later, Double Diamond took the train all the way to Ponyville. He was greeted by Spike at the train station. He said that Starlight was busy at the moment, but she will be at the castle just in about half an hour. So he said, okay. So Spike took him to the castle, where he gave him some food and something to drink. Meanwhile, when he was waiting. About half an hour later, Starlight returned to the castle and she gave Double Diamond a big hug. Double Diamond has been a while. It sure has been, Starlight. How you been? Working at the School of Friendship is a lot of busy these days. Yeah, I can imagine, like being like a teacher or something like that, or substitute teacher. Yeah, it's can be like something like that. So, anyways, how is the things back in the village? The same old, same old. Nothing much happened except that Potterfavor and Nightglider are still dating, and Potterfavor might proposing to Nightglider at some point in the future. Really? Well, I'm glad for him to hear that, though. When you first told me about them dating, I was, not expecting that. Yeah, you were expecting maybe Pinky to be dating Potterfavor. Can you not blame on that part? They're both like starting parties and like that. They have the same personality. Yeah, this sounds about right, said Double Diamond with a smile. So anyways, since you're gonna be here for about a week, how about that show you around? That sounds a great idea. So they both left the castle, and Starlight did show him around where to find his locations, just in case if he would be alone while if she was working. After about maybe just an hour, they returned back to the castle, just in time as Twilight had returned. Oh, Double Diamond, you're here. Yeah. Didn't Starlight tell you where I was coming? Oh, right. Yeah, she did. I must have forgotten about it. Twilight's memory sometimes is bad, laughed Starlight. Hey, my memory isn't that bad, said Twilight, almost with a grin. Well, it can't be, said Spike back. Spike, do you want me to teleport you by the end of the world? No thanks. I'm fine. Good, said Twilight with a big joke smile back. So anyways, are you two up maybe hungry? Yeah, actually, I'm actually start getting a bit hungry. Great, I will make you something to eat for all of us. Spike, you want to help? Uh, sure, as long as you don't teleport me to anybody end of the world. Spike, that was just a joke. Do you know that? You never know what with you, Twilight, said Spike nervously. Oh, Spike, what should I do with you sometimes? Well, not teleport me away, said Spike jokingly. Ah, come on, Spike, let's work on the food. Oh, okay. Meanwhile, they were working in the kitchen. Starlight and Double Diamond were in the library, just small talking. Soon, Twilight returned with some of the food, and they were just talking all kinds of things. But later in the evening, around after dinner, it was around 10 p.m. Starlight and the others had gone to bed, but Double Diamond had a bit hard to fall asleep. So he left his room, just walk around, see what's maybe if he could do something to keep him for being get tired. When he passed by the library, he saw there was still a light in there, and he saw Twilight. Oh, Double Diamond? What you're doing so late? I was about to ask you the same. I mean, I can't sleep. Same here. Really? Yeah, back in the village you're more quiet, and yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I used to live in Canterlot, and it was a lot more sounds, and to be honest, I had a little bit difficult living in Ponyville for the first time. I mean, that was before I even lived in this big castle. Yeah, Starlight did mention that you did live in a library once. Yeah, but it's long gone. Sorry to hear that. It's okay though. I like this place. So Starlight told me also that you know um, you have been lonely as well as long as you lived here. What else did Starlight tell you? Nothing embarrassing things like just she's a little bit worried about you, and to be honest, even my friends back home are telling me the same thing. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, I am probably the only one of my friends back home that's still single. Wait, really? Yeah, I mean, most of the marriages will be taken by some pony or someone of the not interested in dating, so, you know. But some of my friends actually suggested I should try to expand my search some other places, like Ponyville for example. You know, I can see why you liked it, that place, and but if I ask you this, would you consider dating somewhere from this small community? Um, I mean, Ponyville is like back home. I mean, it's a small village, and but but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was a long distance, as long as I would be able to see my girlfriend some a few times in a year. Why not? Oh, so can I ask you something? Sure. Is there any mare that you really like? Double Diamond was silent for a moment while as he was sitting next to her. Um, well, there were at least one mare that I did had a crush on, but it's not possible for anymore. Oh, um, may I ask who? Well, it's Sugarbell. Wait, you had a crush on Sugarbell? Yeah, it was for a while. I mean, I was getting ready to confess my feelings for her, but when I later learned that she was already in love with and even dating Big Macintosh, so I kind of gave up on that and moved on. That must been hard. Tell me about it. I mean, it was sometimes hard to be even consider that. Yeah, but to answer your question, I like a mayor who is, honest, kind. at least funny most part, but I wouldn't mind if it was a Pegasus, unicorn, Earth pony, or alicorn in the case. That made her blush a little bit, hearing that he would be dating an alicorn. But no one since there are only a few alicorns in this kingdom, and at least one is taken, and two are might not be in interest is like someone like me, and that makes you like yourself. He said on a giggle. You know, to be honest, there is actually a stallion that I had small crush on lately. Oh, who? Um, Before she could answer, she heard a voice from the staircase. Uh, Twilight, are you still up? Are you still doing the documents I told you not to do? There was Spike. He literally overheard them both talking and... Oh, sorry, Spike. Yeah, I'm getting ready to get to some sleep. Sorry if I keep you up, if I wake you up. It's okay, Twilight, I'm used to it. Then he went back up the stairs. Oh, sorry for interruption, but, it's okay, though. You can tell me another day. Are you sure? Don't worry. I can't wait as long as this time. So they both said good night and went to sleep. The next day, Starlight was quite busy, and Twilight was also busy, so Double Diamond just walked around by himself in town, just interacting with some other ponies, and even had lunched by himself at one of the diners. But when he came back to the castle around 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Twilight was back. Oh, you're back already? Yeah, I mean, I have been taking care of myself most of the day, and, So, what are you up to? Nothing much. It's just sitting here, relaxing after a day at the School of Friendship. Starlight decided to take care of the rest of the things, and I thought, why not go back to the castle just to relax a little bit? What about you? Yeah, they're about the same, and my hoops are, a little bit pain. Let me guess, you have been walking around since this morning? Yup, spot on, he said with a smile. I have to ask you something. Yeah? What's it? You remember what you've been telling me about the pony that you had a crush on? Hearing that funny question made her blush a lot. Um, yeah. The pony that I like is actually, you, said Twilight, blushing a lot more. He was stunned. Wait, me? She nodded without saying a single word. May I ask, how or when did this happen? She told him that after she returned back to the village, sometimes after Starlight had left and that she had reformed. Oh, so that has been at least about a year, give or take. She nodded again without saying a word. So, I assuming you would try dating me? She nodded again, but this time she said yes. So, then he said, why not? Why not be going out today as our first date to a restaurant? My bit, my treat. She nodded and said that she would like that. So, in the evening, when Starlight and Spike went in the library, when they saw Twilight walking down in a night dark blue dress and a ribbon in her mane, they were like, whoa, Twilight, what the occasion like you're going like this? Says Spike asking. Oh, I'm actually going on a date. And both Spike and Starlight just looked at each other and like, what? A date? With who? Then they heard a stepping someone come down, and it was Double Diamond, and he said like, are you ready? Sure am. Double Diamond? Oh, hey, Starlight. Yeah, we are actually going on a date. See you later. And they just both left. They actually went to the restaurant nearby, and they just had a great time. They talked about their common interest in in reading Daring Do and all kinds of things. And even Twilight did telling a lot of things about her past adventures with Double Diamond. And they just had a great time there. And later, they actually went back to the castle and they found only Starlight still awake. So, how was it? It was great, said said Double Diamondback. Yeah, it was spectacular. Really? You're just making it up, says Starlight. No, it was actually great. I mean, I haven't had this fun in a while now. So both Starlight and Double Diamond looked at each other, and he's like, "Yep. Well, I think it's probably for me to go to bed. I'm getting a bit tired. It's just been a long day." So they actually got up to bed, and throughout the entire week, Double Diamond and Twilight they went on several dates, like having a picnic, or went to the bowling alley, or just basically overall had a good time. But it was just a lot of things. It's for, well, they were just having a good time. But then they came when he had to go back home, and Twilight felt a little bit sad because at the time they actually had made their relationship official. All their friends was just happy. Even when this news had reached Cadence in Shining Armor, both had told her in a letter that they were just happy to hear that Twilight had found someone to be with. But Double Diamond and Twilight promised each other that they would see each other soon enough. And when Double Diamond had returned home, his friends there had even heard the news yet. When the party favor and Nightladder asked him after he returned home, "So, Double Diamond, how was the things back in Ponyville?" It was great actually. I was spending a lot of time with Starlight, going on dates with Twilight. Whoa. Dates with Twilight? Yeah. Really? Are you two like dating? Yep. Officially? Yep. Oh, my sweet Celestia, said Nightladder. What? I mean, are you against that? No, it's just, you know, we were taken aback by it, said Party Favor with a smile, but we're happy for you. Thanks. I mean, I haven't been this happy ever since since I moved here apparently, but I'm just happy to be with someone like I really like. And for at the time, some time had passed. Starlight and Double Diamond remained in contact by letter, and she kept him informed about what Twilight had been up to and that she missed him so much. But there's still a lot of things that Double Diamond thought about in this relationship. If it will be a long term, or if it's going to be just temporarily. But he was just happy to know that his feelings for Twilight was equally responded. And after they had been dating for about 3 months, Twilight decided to go to the village to spend time with Double Diamond. By this point, the whole kingdom knew about their relationship, and every pony supported their relationship, though, which both was just happy. Even her family had sometimes asked if that she could bring Double Diamond to Canterlot so they can have a family meeting or family dinner together. Twilight said that she will ask him about it, but she couldn't promise if it will happen anytime soon, but she did promise. And when she went to see him in the village, they had a lot of good times. They baked together, they cooked dinner together, and just enjoying the time. Double Diamond even took Twilight to the mountains so they could skiing or snowboarding. And Twilight actually had a little difficult to do using the snowboard. But Twilight decided to use the skis only. After she fell off the snowboard a few times and she just simply gave up on using it. But even though the Twilight isn't the pony that you simply give up so easily, but she decided not to be using it anymore. And each time when she fell off the snowboard, Double Diamond just burst out with laughter when that had happened. But he did, of course, apologize, and he said he couldn't resist laughing at it. She smiled and said that with a giggling and said it was fine though, that she understand. But after a while they always went back to his house, where they had some warm to drink. After all, it was freezing cold in the mountains. Even though Twilight was only staying in village for only about a short time, for about a week. At the time when she was going back to Ponyville, both were just sad that she had to go. But they promised each other to remain in contact by letters. And a few months later, when it was the winter had arrived, and the big holiday heartwarming Eve was approaching, Twilight wrote a letter to Double Diamond and asked if he wanted to celebrate the holiday with her and her whole family in Canterlot. And he said sure, even though when he was on his way on a train to Canterlot, he was really nervous how his first meeting with her parents would be like. He actually had encountered Shining Armor and Cadence when they were in Ponyville for a short visit, while he was also there. But the first meeting with her parents went just so smoothly. It was no problem. But they all loved him. Even especially one member in the family loved him more, and that was Flurry Heart. She even called him Uncle Diamond, which made every pony laugh about it. And they just had a great time in their relationship, and even during the holiday. It was around in the early summer the next year, Double Diamond was invited by Twilight to have some time with her in Ponyville for about a week. When he arrived, she told him that she had to go to the School of Friendship to take care of some things, but he will be back in a few hours. And he said that was okay, that he can always just walk around to take care of things by himself. She gave him a kiss and she left. He decided to just walk around, and after being walking around for maybe just 20 minutes or so, he thought, why not just walk out of town to the outskirts to see what things can be there. He had a small hobby to be in observing birds and other animals, and when he was near one particular place, Everfree Forest, he knew that that was one of the most dangerous places in the whole kingdom. And he has been told always to stay out of it by when he was young. But the curiosity overtook him, and he walked in the forest, but he told himself not to go too deep, and always remain close to the entrance. And as he was just looking around near the entrance, when he wasn't aware, a snake had been crawling just around him, and then suddenly he felt a sharp pain in one of his back legs, and he saw this snake crawling away fast in the bushes. And he started feeling a bit weak, so he decided to just leave the forest and hope to find some pony so that could take him to the hospital. And when he just had left the forest, he started feeling more and more weaker. The pain in his back leg was hurting so badly that he could even almost not feel it anymore. It turned out that the poison or the venom had started to make him feel weaker, and he fell to the ground. And to his luck, Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy was flying above him. They noticed him on the ground and they landed immediately, and they asked him how he's doing. Then he said that he was being bitten by a snake and he needed help, and then he lost consciousness. Fluttershy told Rainbow to go back into town to inform Twilight while she take care of Fix and help him so that he would have been taken to the hospital. Even though Rainbow said that both of them will take him to the hospital, but Fluttershy told her not to be taken care of, not to worry. So Rainbow left. Fluttershy had some of her animals friends to help to carry Double Diamond all the way to the hospital. And as Rainbow arrived at the castle, but she found it empty. So she flew her way to the school of friendship, where she found Spike and asked, "Spike, where's Twilight? I think she's in the office. Why? Is there something matter?" But she didn't answer. She flew all the way to the office and just burst in the room like, "Twilight, you need to come." Whoa, Rainbow, what's the problem? She was actually in the room with Starlight, and Double Diamond had been bitten by a snake near every forest. Both Starlight and Twilight just looked at her big eyes. What? And Fluttershy is taking him to the hospital right now. You have to come with me. Starlight, can you? Don't worry, I will have her cover you. Go. So Twilight teleported her and Rainbow to the hospital. When they arrived, Fluttershy told them that they were just in luck. The doctor had just informed her that he has just been given an antidote for the venom. Because Double Diamond had just woken up for only brief when the doctor asked to describe the snake, because to just being given the right antidote, because given the wrong one could eventually cost his life. And they still had to do it. The doctor informed later Twilight that he had to stay behind in the hospital for at least one or 2 days just for safety. And 2 days later, Rainbow and the others was happy to hear that Double Diamond had made full recovery and he could go home. And during this particular time, though, Twilight was so happy to hear that Double Diamond had made it. She even told him how scared she were when she heard that he had been in the hospital when she was being bitten that a snake bite him, a venomous snake. Even he was scared that he would eventually lose his own life, that he wouldn't be able to be there for her. But it was one thing that she didn't know. Because only about a day after that he returned, he took her to the small meadow outside of town where they have a picnic, where he actually proposed to her. It turned out he had been planning this for a while now. But they had even been together just for about a year. But to them, no matter what, even just 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, or even 10 years, they still would have done it. She said yes when he did propose. They actually went back in town after the picnic was over to inform all their friends. Eventually, even their families, they were all happy to hear that they were going to be married with one they loved the most. Partyfavor had been asked to be Double Diamond's best man, and Twilight had asked Rainbow to be her maid of honor, which both had said yes to. At the wedding, all the guests could see how happy Twilight and Double Diamond were together. Even after the party afterwards, which Pinky had arranged, all the guests could see how happy Twilight and Double Diamond were together. And Twilight actually even had a special gift for Double Diamond. She asked him if he wanted to be immortal like herself, and he said yes. So she used a spell that turned him into immortal. And later, it was time for them to go on their honeymoon. They actually went to Saudi Arabia, and they were there for 2 weeks. And there, they just had an amazing time. They were doing a lot of sightseeing, just having a great time. Both of them could have been happier to be married with the one that they loved the most in the whole world, but also to have been entered a new chapter in their lives. After 2 years, both Double Diamond and Twilight felt they were ready to start their own family, but eventually they learned that they were expecting their first child, but they were shocked to learn they were expecting triplets. When the whole family and friends was told they were expecting their first child, but when they were told not one, but 3 foals, Twilight's parents, they fainted out of shock. Shining Armor was, "Sweet Celestia, it's just gonna be a big family meetings every year," he said. But they were just happy though. Then the day came when their triplets was born, and they were both excited. The first daughter was named Sparkle Snow. Sparkle Snow was as a filly, she loved the snow. She loved building snow ponies, having snowball fights with her friends. But there was one true passion that she had as a filly was writing and reading. She loved reading stories like During Dew, but there was one thing that she loved to do most, writing her own stories. Her dream was to be an author of writing romance novel. And actually, when she was in school, she wrote a short romance novel story and got the first prize, which inspired her to be more as an author. And eventually, she moved to Baltimore, where she decided to work as an author, where she eventually fell in love with a stallion who works as a doctor. They got married after being dating for about 2 years. Eventually, they later have 2 daughters and 2 sons. The second triplet daughter was named Moon Rose. As a filly, she loved flowers all the time. She even took care of the family's garden back in Ponyville, and for that, she loved flowers so much. In fact, she wanted to open her own flower shop one day when she was older. She even worked as a part-time at Roselike's flower shop in Ponyville. But when she was 20 years old, she actually moved to Trottingham and opened her own flower shop. And it became a success there. Eventually, she even fell in love with the stallion, and they even got married after being dating for about 3 years and eventually had 2 daughters. The third triplet daughter was named Ice Crystal. Like her triplet sister, Sparkle Snow, she loved the winter. In fact, she loved it so much, she spent a lot of time skiing or ice skating and just having a good time. But her true passion was actually that she wanted to be a baker. She loved to spend time with her aunt Pinky, and eventually when she was old enough, she actually moved to Manhattan where she opened her own bakery. And it became a success. And eventually, she fell in love with the stallion and they got married after being dating for about 4 years and had 2 daughters and 1 son of their own. 3 years later, they had another daughter which they named Winter Diamond. Winter Diamond was like her older sisters. She loved the winter. But her true passion, it was that she wanted to be something quite special. She wanted to be a teacher. After all, after that her own mother was a teacher at the School of Friendship, she wanted to be the same. And when she was old enough, she went to a special school that was that was dedicated for to be teaching how to be a teacher. After she finished that, she was actually hired to be as a teacher at the School of Friendship by her own mother. She accepted it. And eventually, she did fall in love with a stallion, and they even got married after being dating for about 4 years and had 2 daughters and one son of their own together. 3 years later, they had another daughter, which they named Lavender Frost. She loved to be helping around with her family if they need something, but she was very much energetic as a filly. But her true passion was that she wanted to make her own perfumes. And when she was older, she actually made a perfume that became so popular in Ponyville, and eventually she decided to have it mass produced and sold it around in Equestria. And it was such success among other mayors across the entire kingdom. She eventually did get married with a stallion from Baltimore, where she eventually settled down in. And he and Lavender Frost eventually have 2 daughters and one son of their own together. 3 years later, they had a daughter which they named Ice Orchid. She was like her older sister Moon Rose. She loved flowers, and it sparked as an interest as a filly that she wanted to have her own flower shop one day. When she was a teenager, she actually had a part-time job at Rose-Like's flower shop, like her older sister. But when she was older, around 20 years old, she moved to Trondheim, where she opened her own flower shop. It actually became a success there. She was happy that she had fulfilled her childhood dream. And she eventually fell in love with a stallion, and they even got married after dating for about 5 years and have 2 daughters of their own. Double Diamond couldn't be more happier to be with Twilight, especially when he admitted his own feelings for her all those years ago. And more surprising that even Twilight admitted her feelings for him. He was not expecting that, but he was just happy that both had admitted their feelings for each other, especially to one that they loved the most in the whole world. Twilight couldn't have been happier who had found her true love within Double Diamond. After all, he was such true gentle colt, and her feelings for him only grew stronger for each single day. Same thing as for Double Diamond, though. His love for her only grew so much stronger for each single day. Both of them are happy and proud to have 6 children and 17 grandchildren. And this is how Twilight Sparkle and Double Diamond found a true love, got a big family together. The end.